You know what time it is. It's Wednesday here on the LouieTeeNetwork podcast. So that means you get to take over the show. Start lining your comments up using the hashtag LouieTLive. This show, I'm going to tell you right now, is going to be all over the place. I can already tell. I'm setting the tone by just being random as hell. So saddle up. It's going to be one of those types of shows. You know what it is. It's the LouieTeeNetwork podcast, and it starts now. Who else could it be but me? You're Louie T. Welcome to the 205th installment of the LouieTeeNetwork podcast. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. I named this episode Non Sequitur for a reason, okay? I already know that I'm going to be a little bit all over the place with this one. Got a couple of things I need to get off my chest, a couple of things I want to talk about. And so we're just going to do it in a condensed form. Instead of me going, in case you missed it, and dragging it out and making it this long, process, we'll just do it right here in the gym dropping session. Get straight to the shits right out of the gate. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what? In the spirit of just getting straight to the shits, let's do exactly that. Let me drop this gem on your melon. Open your mind. Let your conscience be free. You're now rolling with your man, Louie T double E. Let me open you up. Get you thinking a little bit. So I do want to give a shout out to Juan Gotti Talking Sports for being the first in the comment section. What up, Juan? Appreciate you. And so let's get to the proceedings this evening, shall we? And I'm going to call this gym dropping session Non Sequiturs, okay? For those of you that don't know what a non sequitur is, it essentially is something that has nothing to do with the topic of discussion. Whatever you're talking about, I could be talking about some chicken, like, man, Popeyes has the best chicken, and you come out of nowhere and say, I went and did some laundry last week, and I could not get those grass stains out of my jeans. And everybody's looking around like, what the hell are you talking about? That's a non sequitur. It has absolutely nothing to do with what the hell we're talking about. All right. So I'm going to start off the show by just talking about my biggest surprise of the early NFL season. Okay. I didn't expect the Vegas Raiders to be 2-0 right now. Maybe 1-1. Maybe they go to Pittsburgh and beat the Raiders. The Steelers. They always play the Steelers tough. It usually comes down to a last-second field goal. So maybe they go to Pittsburgh and win. Maybe they beat Baltimore at home and then lose to Pittsburgh the following week on the road. But the combination of beating both of those teams in consecutive weeks, I could not have predicted that. With the defense not looking as bad, still don't know if I'm sold totally on that defense. But hell, it looks 10 times better than anything they put out in the field last year defensively. And the offense looks tremendous to this point. Now, they're banged up. No Josh Jacobs against the Steelers. Derek Carr is now nursing an ankle injury. And they still went out and performed at a relatively high level in week number 2 versus the Steelers. Week 1 against the Ravens, they started slow. Ravens jumped on top of them and had an opportunity to put them away. Couldn't do it. And the Raiders made them pay, ultimately winning that game in overtime. So I've been really impressed with the Raiders. And again, the Raiders could end up being 8-9 this year after a 2-0 start. Wouldn't shock me if they did. But I didn't expect them to be 2-0 at this point of the season. And I think with the Dolphins team banged up, no Tua, having to start Jacoby Brissett, who had the Raiders starting 3-0? I damn sure didn't. With a healthy Tua, did you have them going to Miami and winning this week? Because I didn't. Not initially, at least. They're going to win that football game now. So the Raiders could end up being 3-0, just like the team we're going to talk about later on in the show could start 3-0. I could see them starting 3-0 with the schedule that they had presented in front of them. But the way they've done it has been uber impressive. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. So the biggest surprise for me to start the season has been the Vegas Raiders. The next thing I want to talk about, I know most of you have had a chance to see this. For those of you who haven't, I'll explain. Robert Griffin III is politicking to become a member of the Washington football team. Now, normally I would jump all over Robert's ass on this one, talk about how garbage he is, how nobody wants him, and we definitely don't want him. But I'm not mad at him for this, okay? We talked about the tweet. I think we talked about the tweet. I might have just internalized it and kept it pushing because I don't give a shit. But this really got under my skin because this was a topic of discussion yesterday, and I'm like, why? And so the person that I'm pissed off at is Adam Schefter. And, you know, sometimes Adam Schefter gets on my damn nerves. He can get under my skin pretty damn easily because Shefty does some real stupid shit sometimes, says some dumb shit, and then he's real smug about it as if, I'm Adam Schefter, what the hell are you going to do about it? So sometimes I'm like, you know what, Schefter, kiss my ass. This is one of those moments where I'm like, hey, Schefter, we didn't need this shit. Keep this shit to yourself. So, you know, he's got a podcast. It's doing really well. He has these prominent guests on it every single week. And he had Robert Griffin III, who now works for ESPN. So it makes a ton of sense. And he'll be handling some college football coverage and may do a little sprinkle of the NFL, but most of his duties will revolve around college football, where he had most of his success. So Griffin's on his show, and Schefter brings up, hey, would you mind going back to Washington? And of course, Robert Griffin III, he doesn't care if he played for the Timbuktu Tigers at this point. He just wants back in the NFL. So if it's Jacksonville, it's Minnesota, it's Carolina, it's why he doesn't give a shit. He just wants back in. We remember, I joked on draft night, he was begging Kyle Shanahan, who can't stand him, okay? Part of the reason the Shanahans were ousted from Washington was because of Robert Griffin III, and yet on draft night, he's begging Kyle Shanahan for a job to mentor Trey Lance. And I'm like, yeah, he's desperate now. Anyway, Robert said, yeah, I'd love to go back to Washington. You know, it'd be a great story. And, you know, I feel like it'd be me coming full circle. You know, the first time I felt like it was wrong place, wrong time. And it'd be a great story, man. I'd really like to go back there. Unfinished business, you know, to some degree of, you know, what he said, something to that effect. And again, I didn't mind any of that. You know, he's like, yo, you know, you got injuries, you know, hit me up, hit my line, you know, whatever. And I'm like, you know, I think he said, make the call is what he said. And I'm like, no, you're not the make the call guy. They call Cam Newton before they call you, but that's nor here nor there. I got mad because Schefter is the one pushing this narrative. So he's like, that would make a great story, Robert. That would make a great story. And I'm all for great stories. Like, shut the hell up. And then has the nerve to then push it. And then this is a thing trending on ESPN yesterday. I'm like, who gives a shit? First of all, who in the hell asked him if he wanted to come to Washington? And why should anybody want him in Washington? And then I said, oh, it was Schefter's ass. Nobody wants Robert Griffin III in Washington. That's number one. I shouldn't say that. Most people don't want Robert Griffin III in Washington. Second of all, who's talking about needing any quarterbacks? We already checked that box. And again, if something were to go awry, the first person that should be getting a call is one Cameron Newton, not Robert Griffin III. But anyway, I digress. This isn't a Robert Griffin III issue. This is an Adam Schefter issue. What the hell are you doing? Why are you pushing this narrative? Shut up. I've got an eye. Just one, not both, just one. I got an eye on Herb out there in Jacksonville, man. I'm getting worried. I told you guys, I was looking at a couple of shots of Herb on the sideline while they were getting their ass destroyed by the Denver Broncos. And the score doesn't really do the game any justice. They never had a shot in that game. And as they're getting torn apart, there are a couple of shots, I think after the field goal kicker missed one of the field goals, Herb in his typical bent over, look like I can't breathe and I'm about to have a heart attack stance, looks down and looks up, and he's got the look of a guy that's like, man, I don't know if I can do this shit. I'm going to tell you right now, this is not what Urban Meyer is used to. He's not used to getting his ass kicked. He's used to doing the ass kicking. He's not used to begging for the fans, which he's already done once already, which shows me that even his patience isn't, that long, because he's already begging for the fans to not give up on them. And I'm like, Herb, you don't have any fans. It's Jacksonville. You're good, bro. You don't have to worry about a mutiny or the fan base turning on you. It's 17 fans that you're entertaining in Jacksonville. You're good, bro. Trust me. You'd have more fans if you were coaching Florida against Georgia in the biggest cocktail party in the world. In Jacksonville Stadium, you'd have more fans there if you were coaching the Gators. Hell, if you were coaching the Georgia Bulldogs. Don't worry. You don't have to beg for the fans to hang in there. There are only 22 of them. But I'm worried that these ass whoopings are going to accumulate. And I don't think he's taking the USC job. I don't think he's going to do that. But as these ass whoopings continue to accumulate, there's only so many of these he can take. He's not used to this. And I know he's talked about wanting to build a winner in Jacksonville, and he's in it for the long haul, and he wants to turn their program around. All of that sounds good until you start getting your face bashed in every single week. He's going to need a win here soon to make him feel like, okay, we're making some progress. I can do this. I can hang in here. There's light at the end of the tunnel. When is that going to happen? They look bad. And I mean, like, worst team in the league, bad. The team that you think they can beat is Houston. They got smoked by the Texans in week 1. Now, again, it was in Houston, but I don't think it would have made that much of a difference had that game been played in Jacksonville. I said all of that to say this. Keep one eye on Herb. I don't like how this is beginning. I don't like how Herb is already reacting. I don't like where this is going. Okay? Just do me a favor. Keep an eye on Herb for me, all right? Because we've seen college coaches come to the NFL wanting to spread their wings and show their abilities only to get smacked up and then realize, nah, this ain't for me. This is a little bit over my head. I'm going to go back to the college and collegiate ranks where I belong, where everybody listens to me, where I can go recruit the best players, where I don't have a salary cap, where I can get as many of the 5-star players and the best in the nation as I possibly can. That's more of my speed, where you can't tell me I don't have enough money to sign this guy. Oh, I got enough boosters. I can sign anybody I want. You don't even have to go that route anymore with NIL now, with name and likeness, name, image, and likeness. You can get all the guys you want now. I don't know if he's built for this kind of, ass whooping that he's about to take in Jacksonville. I don't know if he's built for this. Just keep an eye on Herb for me, if you will, please. Modern era 2022 Hall of Fame nominees were released today. They were announced. And that list, I think it was comprised of 122 names. Interesting list. One name that was not on it that made me smile was Tony Romo. And I like Tony Romo. He's not a Hall of Fame football player, though. We've had that discussion before. So that was good to see him not be on the list of quarterbacks that made it as nominees. But, it was just fun to go through that list. You see a number of names from yesteryear that just bring back fond memories. And, I'm the Hall of Fame police. You know that. Okay, so I want to go through the nominees and just make sure everybody belongs here. Just make sure there are no sore thumbs sticking out. A few weeds that I may need to pull out of the Hall of Fame grass and toss them out of there. They shouldn't be in this yard. For the most part, everybody belonged. There were a couple of names, though. One in particular, I was like, did I miss something? Did I miss the front end of his career and only caught the back end, and I don't remember the front end of his career? Do you guys remember Allen Rossum, cornerback, primarily for the Atlanta Falcons, played the bulk of his career in Atlanta, but played, probably in two or three different stops around the league, maybe even 4. But more, he was most notably known for being an Atlanta Falcon. Allen Rossum had a Hall of Fame worthy career, or at least one that we would consider him to be a nominee. Allen Rossum? Really? Did I miss something? I don't know, man. Anyway, I just found it interesting to look through that list. The names have been announced: Andre Johnson and Steve Smith Sr. And I think DeMarcus Ware highlight a group of first-year guys that are eligible that should get some serious consideration. So that's something we'll turn our attention to after the season. It's not a big deal right now. Just thought I'd bring it up because I'd made a big stink about Tony Romo potentially being on this list. He wasn't. I'm good. So last thing I want to talk about here on the Gym Dropping session, as we just bounce all over the place. College football. I told you guys last week that college football is wide open this year. There is no dominant team. And I told you that after week 2. I said, or after week, 2. And I said, I could tell this after week 1, though. I told you guys after week 1, there was no dominant team. And I said, hey, Florida's going to be hosting Alabama in the Swamp. And somebody was like, yeah, Alabama's like a 15-point favorite. And I'm like, we'll see about that. It is the Swamp still now. I said, Florida's quarterback situation, less than ideal. All right. It's funky. Let's just call it what it is. It stinks. I said, Alabama should be able, if this were the Bama teams of old that we've come to know and love, they would have drubbed Florida by 35, and that game would have been over midway through the third. But this is not that Alabama team. They are not dominant this year. There is no dominant team in college football. And thus, they barely escaped out of the Swamp by the hairs on their chin. Barely. And I guarantee you, had Florida possessed the ball one final time, that's why it was the utmost important that Alabama convert that last first down so that they could take knees. Because if Florida got the football one more time, they would have went down and scored on Bama's ass and beat them. And they knew it. They couldn't give it back to them. And they were up big. It was 21-3 in the first quarter. It's funny. I had a conversation with my wife, and we're sitting there watching the game, and she's like, oh, they're going to get destroyed. She's talking about Florida. And I'm like, nah, I don't think this is going to be a blowout. She looks down and she looks back up. And I think it was 21-7. She looks down, she looks back up, and it's 21-7 or 21-3, whatever it was. And she's like, oh my God, I thought you said they weren't going to get blown out. I said, okay, maybe I was wrong. I turned it. And I said, I gotta come back just to see what's going on. And Florida's hanging in there. And I watched it from that point forward, and Bama's not dominant. Ohio State struggling with Tulsa. Before the weather impediment, Clemson was struggling with Georgia Tech. 7-0. I'm watching that game, and Georgia Tech's got every opportunity, but they're Georgia Tech. They would have been down 21-0 at that point of the game with Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson. Hell, even Taj Boyd at quarterback. They might have been down 21-0. It's 7-0, and they're struggling. There's no dominant team in college football this year. I just want to reiterate that again. Anybody can be beaten on any day by anybody this season. So this is going to be really interesting. I may say all of this, and we may get down to the Final Four, and it may end up being Clemson and Alabama and Ohio State, and we may throw in a new team this year, Oregon, or we may throw in Iowa or something. It could be, or Penn State could come off the pace. At the end of the day, I think we're going to get a shakeup this year. I think we're going to get one or two new teams to the playoffs. And they need to expand that shit anyway. Speaking of playoffs, there's so many great ideas I've heard about the playoffs and what they could do with college football and how they could expand it and make it better. Do it. Do it. Like, what are you waiting on? Do it. Make it better. It's old now. It's stale. Make it better. Anyway, I digress. So those are my non sequiturs. Nothing has nothing to do with nothing. It's all good. Just need to get that stuff off my chest. Now it's your turn. Whatever you want to talk about, you have the floor. So start lining those comments up. I assume you already have. If you want to super chat, you know that's the fastest way to get to your comment. You want to jump to the front of the line, super chats are the way to go about that. So go ahead, start getting busy. We're going to take a short break, come back on the other side, and then we're going to jump into social media maneuvers. You are dialed in to the 205th installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I will see you on the other side. I want to take this time to thank Manscaped for sponsoring the Louie T Network podcast. Fantasy football draft season is upon us. It's time you put the PP back in PPR league with the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming just launched the new Performance Package 4.0. Don't neglect your balls like the Packers front office has been neglecting Aaron Rodgers. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for kickoff by going to manscaped.com and getting 20% off plus free shipping with the promo code LouieT. This will help you tame that Troy Polamalu in your pants. If you're grooming below the waist, the Performance Package 4.0 is an essential purchase. And good news for all of our international listeners out there, their life-changing products are now available in Canada, the UK, across Europe, Australia, South Africa, and even Singapore. Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, crop preserver, ball deodorant, crop reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag as well. First scheduled for liftoff, new Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. This spaceship is here to guide you on a journey to trim your balls, body, and even your A-gap. Don't want to fall prey to that double A-gap blitz. This 4th generation trimmer also features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multifunction on and off switch which can engage travel lock and is even waterproof. The Lawnmower 4.0 also has a 4000K LED spotlight which allows you to be as accurate as that clip of Tom Brady playing catch with the jugs machine. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker. It's like having Derrick Henry run through those tough nose and ear hairs. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual blade system. This ear and nose hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in those sensitive holes. Pause. Don't forget to use the Crop Preserver ball deodorant and their Crop Reviver to help your little bench warmers be on their A game while feeling the sun's heat. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and Shed Travel Bag as well. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the promo code LouieT at Manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the promo code LouieT at Manscaped.com. If your significant other is nagging you about how much time you put in your fantasy team, you might as well gift them some beautiful balls with Manscaped. And trust me when I tell you this, your balls and your significant other will thank you. So, real quick, if you're out there and you're watching this show, first and foremost, thank you for your time, your energy. But now that you're here, I need you to do me a huge solid and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And most importantly, if you've done all of those other things, hit the like button. You guys have done a phenomenal job of doing that today. I like to have a 2-to-1 ratio. Best possible scenario a lot of times is 2-to-1, and you guys have already exceeded that. There are over 90 of you out there, over 50 likes. I love it. Let's get it up, though. We can continue to push forward. Let's get it up to 70. You guys have done a great job thus far of hitting the like button. Let's continue to do that. Keep hitting the like button. And if you haven't hit it already, please bless the kids. So with that said, we're going to jump into social media maneuvers. I'm a midday marauder, so let's get into it. Got a couple of super chats to kick us off, so we'll get to those first. And the first one is from Saucy. What's going on, Saucy? Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Saucy writes, when is the next NFC East Super Friends episode? I'd love to give you a date, but I don't have one for you. The next one really is supposed to be hosted by Law. We've all done one on our respective channels except Law. So the next one, I think he's supposed to be housing. Obviously, it's early in the season, so I don't think we're going to get together until maybe more closer towards the midpoint of the season or so. We'll see what happens. Everybody's busy. Everybody's doing their own thing. We'll come back together at some point, but I don't have that information for you right now. But if, things take too long, I may have to get everybody on one accord, get them all together, rally the troops, and see what they're talking about. But give it some time. That's all I can tell you. Give it a little bit of time. We'll see what happens. Thank you for the super chat, Saucy. Got one here from Fat American. Thank you for the super chat, Fat American. Greatly appreciate you. And I want to take this time to thank you and all the rest of the MOBB for being members of the squad. Stand up. Y'all know what it is. We in the building. Mob Squad, always repping in the building. My guy, Fat American, writes, you watch Kurt Warner's breakdown of Heineke? Oh, my God. No, I haven't seen it. I try not to oversaturate myself with praise of any players on our team. A lot of times, I don't know what's being said about us unless it's brought to me. You guys do a great job of bringing everything to me. But a lot of times I'm not really, I don't watch ESPN very often. I don't watch any of these shows. I don't watch Fox Sports 1 unless I'm in, the barber shop or I'm somewhere where they've got it on. I don't really, take in a lot of that stuff because, again, I like to formulate my own opinions. I don't want anybody else, infiltrating my brain with a bunch of nonsense and tomfoolery. So, no, I didn't see what Kurt Warner said, but I know a lot of people are showering him with praises, as they should. He played really well on Thursday night, and he played really well against Tampa last year in the postseason too. So I thought it was a great spot for Heineke to do what he did. It's the second time he's been on a national stage, and both times he's taken full advantage of that spotlight and made the most of it. So I think people now are having to go back and take a second look at him because most people just want to, discount him. Oh, he's undrafted. He's small. He doesn't have a big arm. He was out of the league. He was taking a test to get a degree in some kind of math because his career was almost over. Like, people just want to overlook him. Oh, he's Taylor Heineke. Like, just dismiss him. Kurt Warner's going to have a greater appreciation for a guy like Taylor Heineke because his story is similar. A guy that was overlooked, out of the league, had to go to an alternate league. Remember, Kurt Warner played in the I think he played in the AFL, the Arena Football League. Taylor Heineke played in the XFL. So a lot of these, situations he can relate to. Like, everybody passed on me, gave up on me. I was on a team as a backup quarterback. I didn't really get an opportunity. He was in Green Bay, if you recall, with Kurt Warner the first time around. He gets released. He goes over, plays in NFL Europe. Then he ends up in the AFL, and then he finally gets an opportunity. He was bagging groceries. Everybody remembers that. Same thing with Taylor Heineke. He was on the Panthers. Then he was on the Vikings. Then on the Panthers. Then he was out of the league. He looked like he was about to have to, go to the next phase of his life. He was taking tests at ODU and get ready to finish that up. He gets the call to be the quarantine quarterback. He comes in. He takes advantage of the opportunity, and now here he is. So the similarities are startling. He was in the XFL, like I mentioned already, too. I don't want to forget that. So he's probably gushing over Heineke right now, but rightfully so. So I heard Alex Smith had some nice things to say about him and thinks he can lead Washington to the NFC East title. Like, a lot of people are singing his praises. What he has to do is what he said yesterday, which is, I can't let the good performance be equaled by a bad performance this week. I can't fall back and really allow myself to be submerged by all of the praise that is coming my way. I can't allow myself to fall victim and prey to that. I got to continue to play well. And Scott Turner said today, here's the problem with when you're undrafted. People just put you in a box. There's a stigma there. And what happens is Heineke could go out and ball for the next 5 weeks. He has one bad game, and there it is. I think people were waiting for the shoe to drop on Thursday night. When he threw that pick, there it is. There it is. That's why he's Taylor Heineke right there. They were waiting for that. Hell, even Washington fans were waiting on that. There it is. Told you. He stinks. There it is. I love what he was able to do after that pick. Shut all of those people up that were ready for him to fail. And it showed a level of mental, intestinal fortitude, mental toughness that you have to have in this league, no matter what position you play, but especially the quarterback position. You make a mistake, don't allow that mistake to define you as a quarterback. Overcome adversity. I like when guys overcome adversity. Too many players haven't had, especially quarterbacks, haven't had adversity. So when it hits, they don't know how to respond. And you see that with certain guys. You see it. And so when that adversity hits, they struggle, they panic. Haven't had it. But no, I didn't see it. Hope it was good. John Hinkle. Stand up, John. You are now officially a brand new member of the MOBB. John Hinkle. Come on in, man. Mob, you know what to do. Show John some love. John Hinkle, welcome to the MOBB. Glad to have you. Looking forward to chopping it up with you. See, we got a super chat here from the Phillies Ace 34. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, the Phillies Ace 34. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. The Phillies Ace 34 writes, Louie, you're the man. No, you're the man, the Phillies Ace 34. He says, my friend is always great content. Let's hope my Eagles give Dallas a loss because we both hate the Cowboys fly, Eagles fly. What is the best way without Brooks and Graham to beat them on a Monday night? Excuse me. It's a great question. I think that the Eagles just need to continue to do what they've been doing defensively to start this season off. They've been phenomenal defensively. They're not 1-1 because of their defense. I can assure you of that. The Eagles right now have one of the best defenses statistically in the league as it stands right now. Dominated the Atlanta Falcons in week 1 and really grinded the 49ers to a halt, but the offense just wasn't good enough in week number 2. So if you can carry that over to week 3, slow the Cowboys offense down, which the Chargers were able to do, and I thought the Chargers really were aided by penalties by the Cowboys, but that's nor here nor there. If you can slow the Cowboys down offensively, you may be able to do enough to win the football game. I'm going to tell you this, though. Their defense is playing a lot better than anybody anticipated. Their secondary is playing outstanding ball right now. Where you're going to have to get after them, I think, is on the ground. And I think a combination of Jalen Hurts and his legs and Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell, the three of those guys, I think that's where you're going to have to really exploit Dallas to make them come up, bring the safeties up, be aggressive to try to stop the run, and then maybe hit a shot over the top. Hurts hasn't been super accurate this year, but the one thing he has done well is he's thrown the deep ball pretty well. And he hit one against the 49ers for 90 yards in that game, backed up at his own end zone, essentially. And so you get them to come up, you get one-on-one with one of these speedsters, whether it's Devontae Smith or it's Quez Watkins, you got a chance to really exploit that Cowboys secondary. But right now they're playing at a high level. I think you need to get those safeties into the box, get a one-on-one matchup, and see if you can't take advantage of it. I think running the football is going to be your best opportunity to win. That's where you've been the most consistent this year, is on the ground, especially with Hurts using his legs. That's what I would try to attack Dallas with in this game and try to then take shots off of it. Defensively, you've got to continue to do what you've been doing, whether it's harassing the quarterback or stymieing the run to set up third and long situations that allow you to get after the quarterback. You need to continue to play that brand of football if you're going to go into Big D for their home opener. Keep in mind, they haven't had a home game yet, so they're going to be juiced and charged for that one. You want to go in there and win, going to have to play the same kind of defense you played in weeks 1 and 2, and you're going to have to have a better offensive performance, more like the one in week 1 against Atlanta, less like the one you had in week 2 versus the 49ers. Thank you for the super chat, the Phillies Ace 34. Got a super chat here from Vincent Coe. Thank you for the super chat, Vincent Coe. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Vincent Coe, who writes, can you rank the 4 Bama wide receivers, Judy, Ruggs, Smith, Waddle? Sure. I think that the guy with the highest upside is Waddle for me, of that group that you asked me to rank. I really like Jerry Jeudy. He had some drop issues last year. Now he's injured. Ruggs, I think I like Ruggs more than most people. I think that Smith is going to be the most consistent of this group if he gets some semblance of quarterback play, consistent quarterback play. So I'd go Waddle, Smith, Jeudy and Ruggs. Here's the thing with Ruggs. I want to see him develop to something more than just a deep threat. I know he can get deep. I know he can get vertical. I know he can hurt teams deep. We saw him do it last year. He just did it to the Steelers in week 2. I know he can get vertical. I need to see him be able to start doing the little things, the underneath routes. I want to see him catch the slant and take it for 70. I want to see him turn into a Tyreek Hill knockoff. I think he's fully capable of doing that. Same thing with Waddle. I think Waddle has already shown the ability to do other things. But the Dolphins, I feel like they're just stunting his growth right now. Everything's a bubble screen, hitch, everything right around the line of scrimmage. Like, he can actually run routes. He can do other things. Turn him loose. So Waddle, Smith, Jeudy, Ruggs for me right now. But if Ruggs can show me a little bit more, I'd take him all the way to 2. I really like Henry Ruggs a lot. But right now it's Waddle, Smith, Jeudy, Ruggs for me. Judy's got to stay healthy. He was off to a fast start. He was killing the Giants secondary in week 1 before he got injured. If he can clean up, because one of the issues I had with him coming out of Bama was, hey, there's some drops. Not enough for you to be concerned, but enough for you to say, hey, man, catch the damn ball. And then we saw a lot of drops in his rookie season. So I can't elevate him the way I want to because I need to see the consistency of him catching the football. But I would venture to say that Jeudy is the best route runner of this entire group. So you give him the ability to catch it consistently with the speed that we know Jeudy has as well, he could be a problem. So right now, Waddle, Smith, Jeudy, Ruggs. Ruggs with more route running ability, more ability to do more than just take the top off the defense. He moves up. Jeudy, if he's healthy and he shows the ability to catch it consistently, he could move up. So we'll see. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Fat American, double up. Thank you for doubling up. Writes, who wins in a fight, me or anorexia? I don't know. You tell me. I have no idea. You tell me. I can't answer that one. Vincent Coe, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Vincent Coe, writes, first of all, double up, writes, how good is that Hamilton kid from your Notre Dame? He's special. He's got red line speed as a safety. He'll come up and hit you. He's got tremendous ball skills. I haven't seen this kind of safety product come out of Notre Dame since Harrison Smith, and even Harrison Smith wasn't as highly regarded as Hamilton. Harrison Smith was a second-round pick, and I thought he was going to be good in the league. I didn't think he was going to be as good as he turned out to be. Hamilton has a chance to be special, man. I mean, if I had to give you a comp for a safety that's already in the league, he's like Jesse Bates the third in Cincinnati. He's similar in that regard. I think he's more Jesse Bates than my guy from Denver. I think he's more Jesse Bates the third. And he's long too, a longer guy. Pause. He's big and tall too. That's the difference between him and he's like 6'3", damn near 6'4". He's a big dude, man. So not from a girth standpoint. He's not 230 pounds, but he's slender. But he's 6'4". He's long. Pause. So that also helps his range. He's really talented. Really, really talented. Thank you for the super chat, Vincent Coe. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for tripling up. My guy, Fat American writes, it wasn't praise, the missed opportunities. Oh, my God. So I told you I didn't see it. So apparently he was talking about some opportunities that were there that he didn't take advantage of. Again, I don't have access to the all 22s. That's what kills me. But I know Aikman pointed out one on the telecast that he had DeAndre Carter open over the middle of the field. I don't know how open he was because I saw a safety on the back side of that play. But whatever the case may be, there may have been more opportunities that Heinicke didn't see, that he decided to go elsewhere with the football. And yeah, it's his first start of the season. It's his second start in a Washington uniform. It's his third start in his NFL career. So yeah, he's not going to see everything. It's fine. You're talking about a guy in Kurt Warner that saw everything. Heinicke, first of all, Heinicke isn't a big dude. There were plays where I'm like, yo, Heinicke, don't do that. And, Aikman said, look, I don't know if he can see. He's a smaller guy. Sometimes when, your tackle sets a certain way, it's hard for a smaller quarterback to really be able to see there. There were a couple of throws I'm like, he looked like he threw that blindly. So maybe there were some missed opportunities. I can't speak to that. I wish I could, but I can't. I'm excited, just so you know. Got a super chat here from Silver V. Thank you for the super chat, Silver Villains. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, how much stock do you put into teams peaking too early? Dallas and the Raiders may fall victim to it. I mean, Dallas is 1-1, so it's not like, they're playing exceptional ball. They had a great game against Tampa, but they lost. So they should have lost the game to the Chargers. That was not a great performance by the Cowboys. But again, I'd rather look ugly and horrible and disjointed and win than look great like they did against Tampa and lose. Give me the ugly win any day of the week. So I'm pretty sure they'll take it. The Raiders, on the other hand, they fit the criteria that you're referring to right now, of peaking too early. I don't know if there's a such thing as peaking too early, honestly. You could say the Steelers did it last year, but the Steelers had flaws last year. We don't know what those flaws are for the Raiders at this current moment, but the Steelers couldn't run the football. And we knew eventually that was going to catch up with them. Then they had drops by their receivers. Like, these things were going to ultimately catch up to them and bite them in the tuchus, and it did. And then they started to have issues defensively. So for me, once, I think Bud Dupree got hurt. Bud Dupree got hurt last year, really hurt the Steelers, and they couldn't get after the quarterback the same way. But that's nor here nor there. The Raiders peaking too early, for me, get as many wins as you can, stack as many bricks up in the left-hand column, and, we'll sort them out at the end of the year. The more of those you get early in the season, the better, in the better position you put yourself in when it comes time for postseason talk. So I don't subscribe to the notion of peaking too early. You would like to peak at the right time, because sometimes, like the Buccaneers last year is a great example of peaking at the right time. They literally got off to a slow start. They were trying to figure some things out. They added Antonio Brown midpoint of the season. Took him a little while to really get acclimated. Gronk got off to a slow start. He started to pick things up towards the end of the season. They had a late bye. I think their bye was like week 13 last year. And then they come off the bye like gangbusters and they start smoking everybody, they're scoring 30+ points every single week. The defense starts to get it ratcheted up and they hit their stride and their peak at the right time. There is something to hitting the peak at the right time. I don't know if you can peak too early. You know, you could hit your peak early and just never lose it and just be good all year long. And sometimes, this is why I don't necessarily subscribe to hitting your peak too early. Sometimes you don't know how good you are as a team. And so you need to gain confidence. And by winning, that's what I think that happened in 2015 with the Carolina Panthers. They didn't think they were that good when the season started, but they started winning, and the winning beget confidence. The confidence beget winning, and it just was a beautiful, vicious, flavor, delicious cycle that went over and over again. They would win, they would gain confidence, they would gain confidence, they would win, they would gain more confidence, they would gain more confidence, so they would win again. And next thing you know, they're 15-1 and on their way to the Super Bowl and dabbing on people, dabbing on folks, taking pictures on the sidelines, making everybody mad in the league because they're having so much damn fun. If you hit your stride early, sometimes it never stops. It just grows. Maybe that's the Raiders this year. Maybe it's not. Maybe the Raiders are going to be the Steelers from last year. Not to a lesser degree. I can't see the Raiders winning 11 straight to start the season off, but maybe they're that type of team. I don't know. We'll see. I don't really subscribe to peaking early. I think there is a such thing as hitting your stride and peaking late, which, no one wants to play the hot team that's won 5 out of their last 6 going into the postseason or winners of 5 straight. Nobody wants to play that team that's heading into the playoffs. So, yeah, I don't know if I subscribe to peaking too soon. Ishmael Benitez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. IB writes, RG3 still begging to get back into the league. He is, man. I don't blame him for that. He doesn't want his career to be over, so I understand. He just wants the phone to ring with an opportunity. He doesn't care who. And so, I don't blame him for answering a question that Adam Schefter posed to him. My question is, why the hell are you posing that question to him, Adam? You're damn right he would play for Washington. You think he's in any position to turn down a job from anybody? He could have hated everyone in the organization. If they called, he'd pick up and he'd respond with, damn right, I'll come in there for a workout. He wants back into the league. So, of course, he would take a job with Washington. Yeah, right. Like he's in any position to turn down a job. I thought Adam was just trying to create a story that wasn't there for his own benefit. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Fat American writes, if Heineke goes 3-3 over the next 6 weeks, but continues to ball out and show steady improvement, do you still start him over Fitz? Again, with your scenario, yes, I would. Because the way you're describing it, it's, hey, look, the offense took care of business. The defense let us down, or special teams let us down. And if you could argue that, look, with better defense or better special teams or better this or better that, not Taylor Heineke in offensive, football related, then you could say, yeah, we would have been 4-2 over that same stretch, or 5-1 or 6-0. And Heineke played exceptionally well. Excuse me. I'd say, yeah, no, he should still be your starter. But if you go 3-3 in that stretch, and 2 out of those 3 games, Heineke was so-so, and with better quarterback play, you might have been able to win those games. And he made some costly mistakes. Yeah, that's going to be the difference between him starting when Fitzpatrick is healthy and him going back to a backup role. So that's why it's so important for him to take advantage of this opportunity. That's the first of what is probably ultimately going to be 7 opportunities that he's going to get. I think he's going to get 8 starts before Fitzpatrick is cleared to resume football activities and get back into the swing of things. What does he do in those 8 starts? How does he perform? Can he stay healthy? Number one. Knock on a little bit of wood for that. Can he continue to play consistent football that gives his team a chance? Can he take care of the football? That turnover almost was costly and backbreaking in week 2 versus the Giants. Can't have those. Got to take better care of the ball. And can he continue to play the kind of football where he spread it around, gave everybody an opportunity, and gave us a chance to win? Can he continue to do that? If he can, I don't see how you bench him, because we know where the road of Fitzpatrick leads. It leads to nowhere. But where does this road with Heineke lead to? We're not sure. So let's just ride that thing on out, see where it goes. We know that Fitzpatrick Road ends just abruptly. It ends. There's no connection onto another interstate, or it ends. Let's see where this Heineke Road goes. Thaddeus Gross, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Thad Gross. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, what's up, Lou? What up, Thad? You think that Jack and Ron start slow on purpose so that it's harder for teams to make adjustments for the first half? Just a thought. I think you asked me that question, and I responded to that comment under one of the videos. No, I think you're giving Jack and Ron way too much credit. You're giving them Jedi mind trick abilities that they don't have, that they don't possess. Nobody wants to start slow in a game, okay? That's not ideal, and it's not something that you can consistently keep up, where you start slow but have your team rally back after you make adjustments and you get back into the ball game and then win. That's not something that's sustainable. So I trust me, Ron and company and Jack would love to come out, get a 3-and-out defensively, have the offense go down, score a touchdown, get another 3-and-out, and have the offense go down and put up more points and start the game off 10-0, 14-0 ahead. Trust me, they don't want to fall behind 7-0 every week and have the offense go 3-and-out and then the defense have these long drives go for touchdowns to start the game off. That's not what they're looking to have happen, so that they can trick the other team into thinking they figured some things out. And then they let their guard down, and here comes Washington making a hard charge in the second half. Nah, they are literally trying their hardest to get off to better starts, and we're just not doing it right now. And they need to be better in that department, because it's hurting us. You can't keep falling behind and thinking you're going to come back from behind and win. We've been able to come back from deficits in the first two games. You know, the Chargers game wasn't that big of a deficit. You know, we were down 7-0, and then it was 7-6, and then it was, 13-9 at halftime. And then we took the lead, and we were in command of that game really for much of the second half, 16-13. And then we had the fumble late, and we lost the game. In the Giants game, same thing. You start slow. Giants take a 7-0 lead. We respond, tied up at 7. They go ahead 10-7. We take the lead 14-10 at the half. Second half, they come out, score 10 unanswered points, take the lead 20-14. And from that point forward, we were fighting an uphill battle that we never really could, get from under in terms of a deficit, because we would score a field goal, they would score a field goal. We would score a field goal, they would score a field goal. And so we were just trading blows back and forth. And then finally, we got the touchdown and got a stop. And that gave us a chance to maybe put this game away. We throw the interception and get another field goal. And then we had to go get the field goal as time expired to win the game. So trust me, they're not looking to fall behind like we did against the Giants last year, 20-0 at half, or against the Arizona Cardinals when we were down 20-0 at the half. I think the Giants game might have been 20-3 at the half. Or like we did against the Lions, where we were down, I think we were down 17-3 at halftime in that game. They come out the very first possession of the second half and score a touchdown, and it's 24-3 in that Lions game. Or, the Steelers game, we were down 14-0 against the Steelers at the end of the second quarter, and then we had to drive right before halftime to get the field goal to make it 14-3 at the half. We were down big against the Seattle Seahawks at halftime. I think that score was 13-0 at halftime, I believe. Maybe even 20-0 at the end of the first drive of the third quarter, after they bust off the 50-yard touchdown run, Carlos Hyde. So, no, they don't want to do that. Trust me when I tell you that they're not setting teams up. They're not playing Jedi mind tricks and, trying to get teams to, fall asleep behind the wheel. We just can't, for whatever reason, get off to better starts. They want to. Trust me. Thank you for the super chat, Thad Gross. Vincent Coe, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Vincent Coe writes, Are you more of a Ye or Drake fan since they are beefing? I was more of a Ye fan back in the day, but he lost his shit when his mom passed away. I mean, honestly, Dark, Beautiful, Twisted Fantasy was the last album that I thought was of any merit from Kanye. You know, I wasn't a Life of Pablo or any of those other albums. You could miss me with every single one of them. So I don't even check for Ye anymore. I haven't listened to Donda. I haven't listened to it. I have no interest in listening to it. I'm more of a Drake fan now. So I've lost all confidence in Ye. All confidence. Thank you for the super chat, Vincent Coe. All right. So let's see. We got a few minutes. We can get to a few of these comments. Start here with Juan Gotti talking sports. Sup, Lou? Why do you think that Reed tree has been so successful in the NFL, i.e., Ron and Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier, as you heard, Ron talking about today? He says, or yesterday, he says, why do you think the Belichick tree has been so unsuccessful? I mean, I can speak more to the latter than the former. The former, I can just say this. The former, it starts all the way with Bill Walsh. So, you can trace the roots of Andy Reid back to Bill Walsh. And everything starts there because Andy Reid came from Mike Holmgren. Mike Holmgren came from Bill Walsh. So that's how you get all of these different tentacles. Bill Walsh spawned so many successful coaches. Mike Shanahan, George Seifert, Andy Reid, all of those guys came from under the Bill Walsh tree. And then those guys spread out and their tentacles continue to expand out in the league. With Shanahan, you got Kyle Shanahan, you got Sean McVay. All of these guys came from the Shanahan tree. So you can see how this thing, and with Andy Reid, you see, Ron Rivera and Sean McDermott and, all of these guys. And so it can all be traced back to Bill Walsh. And so that's why that's successful, because Bill Walsh had one of the most successful, he was one of the most innovative and brightest minds in NFL history. And so a lot of guys learned from him. And then, of course, you tweak it to fit the way you want to do things. But the success, the blueprint, the template, if you will, the foundation is already built. You do it the way he did it, and then you tweak it to fit how you want to do it. As far as the Belichick tree, to me, I can speak more to this one because I've talked for so long about why these coaches have been unsuccessful, whether it's Josh McDaniels or it's Charlie Weiss or it's Romeo Crennel, or more recently, we've seen Matt Patricia fail, and we're watching some of these other coaches crash and burn, like Joe Judge. Potentially, that hasn't happened yet, but it looks like it's heading in that direction if he's not careful. And what I can say is that a lot of times these guys, they go into these buildings overconfident because of what they've done in New England, and they think they can replicate what the Patriots were able to do. And so they try to set their building up like the Patriots. Like, we've heard all of the horror stories about how New England isn't fun. It's a really business-like approach. They load you with a bunch of things that they want you to learn, which is, look, it's good, conducive environment for winning. But if you're looking to enjoy work and go have a loosey-goosey environment, that's not the place. We've heard stories of Belichick, quizzing guys in meetings, and if you get the question wrong, he won't speak to you for, a week. He'll walk right past you in the hallway, won't say anything to you. Like, we've heard stories about that. But he can do that because he's got the hardware to back it up. So when guys come to New England, I remember once upon a time, all of the rejects around the league, all the guys that were really talented, but nobody wanted to take on them because they were headaches, that they were perceived bad apples and bad players, like Corey Dillon and Randy Moss. They went to New England and they were perfect soldiers. got it done, played at a high level, helped them win. You know, LeGarrette Blount's another guy. Could never get the most out of LeGarrette Blount anywhere else. He goes to New England, he's a different guy. We've seen that over and over again, but that's because they've got the winning pedigree in New England. So when you then leave New England, the nest of what Belichick has built, and you try to get other players to buy in to what they do in New England, except you're not getting the same results because you don't have Tom Brady, now guys are looking at you like, hey, we practicing this hard. We beating the shit out of each other, only for us to show up on Sundays and get our brains bashed in, and we're supposed to continue to do this with a smile on our face? Willingly? Nah, I can't buy into this. You know, Joe Judge has not only players, but coaches running laps, but we 0-2. And again, this started in the offseason when veteran players that wanted to play football went to New York, and within a week realized, nah, I can't do this shit. This ain't for me. You know, you had Golden Tate and a lot of veterans in Detroit saying, look, man, I don't know what the hell this is wrong with this guy, but this ain't New England. This is Detroit. We ain't won shit in Detroit before. And we get it. He's trying to change the culture, and he wants to come in here and he wants to instill this and instill that. It's harder to do that when you're not winning. It's hard to get guys to believe and buy in when you're not winning. And I think a lot of times with these Belichick disciples, they try to do it just like Belichick instead of, you know, using some of the tools that you gained from Belichick and then creating your own environment. Maybe you have some of the same philosophical beliefs as Belichick as to how things get done, but you still got to put your own spin and twist on it. And I think too many of these guys want the carbon copy. They want to go over there, take the exact blueprint and execute it at their next job as the head man, and it doesn't work. I like what Brian Flores has done in Miami. He's done it his way. Yeah, there's a lot of fundamental things he's taken from Belichick in New England as far as how he wants to build the roster building wise. I think that's what Flores has done the most. Is I want guys that are going to buy in. I also want to do it a certain way. He believes in having, you know, shut down corners. That's one of Belichick's staples. I got to have a guy that can man it up on the outside. It'll allow me to do so many different things. The Patriots have never overinvested in a pass rusher. Look at the track record over the years. They'd find a guy, Rob Ninkovich, Tully Banta-Cain. These were the guys that were leading them in sacks over the years in New England. They never really overinvested in edge rushers. And we'll find a guy. Don't worry about that. What they always invested in was a nose tackle and a cornerback. Always had to have those two ingredients. Give Belichick one guy that can play the safety position like a Patrick Chung or McCourty, and he's good. Give me the corner, give me a safety, give me a nose tackle, I'll get the rest done. That's what we've essentially seen Brian Flores do in Miami. Goes over there, first order of business is let's lock up Xavier Howard. Let's go out and get Byron. From the Cowboys. Byron, whatever his last name is. Forgot his last name. From the Cowboys. Let's shore up the secondary. They've drafted defensive linemen. He's tried to get some edge rushers. It hasn't worked. But he's doing it his way. And that's why I think the Patriots have struggled over the years, is that or disciples of Belichick have struggled. Eric Mangini. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of guys that try and do it that way. And it's hard to get guys to buy in, especially when you're not having success. Captain Spartan 04. Thank you for the comment. Who writes, currently a big Jalen Hurts fan, just so he can be good enough for them and not take a quarterback. Instead, take Texas A&M defensive tackle DeMarvin Leal. Then cut Javon Hargraves and the Steelers get him back. So you've got this diabolical plan that you're setting in motion. Also, you can get a defensive tackle back. Hey man, I'm telling you, you be on some stuff, Captain Spartan. Like literally, you said I'm thinking you had this diabolical plan to get you a quarterback. You know, because Ben is old. I mean, he's old. So I'm thinking all of this is so you can find a way to have the Eagles bypass quarterback and you can get your hands on one. My man said, no. I want them to keep Jalen Hurts so they bypass quarterback. So they draft DeMarvin Leal out of Texas A&M, which then means that they can get rid of Javon Hargrave, who becomes expendable, and we can re-sign him in Pittsburgh. Hey, Cap, man, I can't with you, man. I cannot. Captain also writes, us Steelers fans did talk, and we did agree, all except one. We wouldn't mind trading for Rodgers, but it would only be if our offensive line solves its issues. Otherwise, the trade would be pointless. That'd be a great fit for him. I don't know. I think he really wants to go out west, though. But I mean, I don't think he would turn down an opportunity to play for the Steelers for the remainder of his career. At some point, though, if you're the Steelers, that's a short-term fix. That's a Band-Aid. You need surgery. You need to fix the quarterback position. Don't be like one of these teams like Denver, for instance, and get the veteran at the end of his career. And then when that's over, you got nothing to show for it. And then you go through your series of Brock Osweilers and what was the kid out of Northwestern, the quarterback? I can see his face. I can't think of his name. And Case Keenum and all of these bums that they've been, Paxton Lynch and Trevor Siemian is his name. Like all of these guys that they have cycled through since having Peyton Manning at the end of his career. You don't want to be that team. Get you a guy. Honestly, I would have bailed on Mason Rudolph already. I would have drafted a guy already, and moved forward with that. Had a guy in the waiting, essentially like the Packers did. But it is what it is. We'll see what happens. That'd be a great spot for Rodgers, though. Honestly, if this were his last year in Green Bay, that'd be a great spot for him. Captain also writes, I don't have a major crush on him like Creed Humphrey, but I found another Oklahoma offensive lineman I like, Chris Murray. And our O-line coach recruited him coming out of high school. I don't know what you want me to do with that comment, but I hope you get Chris Murray, man. I can say that because you still haven't let go of Creed Humphrey. And he's playing some solid ball for the Kansas City Chiefs right now. Could have been you, but it's not you, and you haven't let it go yet. And it's almost becoming stalker-like to the point where I'm worried for you, Captain. I'm worried. You have to let it go, man. Let it go. Let's see. Captain also writes, a lot of Steelers fans are on my side about Kendrick Green. They see the 2 pancakes he got, and they get excited over his potential with speed. He's been pancaked himself like 15 times. I told you I didn't love the pick. But I said I'm not an offensive line coach, and they may see something in him that I do not. So I reserve to formulate an opinion on Kendrick Green until I've seen him for enough snaps in the league to be able to decide whether he can or can't do it. It's early in his career. I'm not going to judge him. We'll see what he turns out to be for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I did not love the selection when it was made. Captain also says, so far, the 2 free agents I want, even though we have the worst luck in with free agents, as they never can stay on our team more than 3 years, is Kyle Fuller, who is on a 1-year deal with the Denver Broncos currently, and Ryan Jensen. A stretch, I know, and Ryan Jensen is with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Yes, it is a stretch. Now, I will say this. Your organization seems to have a crush on veteran corners, where instead of them, and they try to draft young corners, and a lot of times it doesn't work out. And even when it does work out, they don't hold on to them, like Steven Nelson and Hilton, who I really like. Both of those guys moved on in the offseason. Nelson with the Eagles, Hilton with the Bengals. And you elect to then go after guys like what's my man from the Cleveland Browns, Joe Hayden. You go after guys like that. So I can see Kyle Fuller. He would fit into what you guys like to do, but at some point you want to get a lot younger if you're the Steelers, a lot younger. So, and Ryan Jensen is a good football player. I just don't know if the Buccaneers are going to allow him to leave. So we'll see. Anyway, Mike Lowry writes, random football question. When I played and faced offenses that run read option, my coach would say for those plays, the DN's job is to hit the quarterback every time. Is that still allowed? Absolutely it is. So in the NFL, I think teams that are aware play it differently. They have that DN just crash down and take the back, and then you have that linebacker fill outside, and it's his job or safety, whomever you have to replace that DN. Whoever's the replaced defender, that guy has the quarterback. And a lot of times you'll see the end crash down because his responsibility is the back, and then that replaced defender is the one that has the quarterback. So we saw Landon Collins. He came backside and just crashed down. He's supposed to be that replaced defender for the defensive end and stay at home. He didn't. Daniel Jones came out of the back door and 60 yards later was in the end zone. In the NFL, when you make yourself a part of the play, as you do with read option, you're able to be hit. You are definitely, you're now a runner. They term you as a runner at that point. So you can smash the quarterback. I don't understand why more teams don't make the quarterback pay for read option. I'm going to make it painful. Even if he doesn't have the ball, I'm going to go and light him up. Within the rules, of course. I'm not going to helmet him or anything like that. I'm going to put my shoulder pad right in his chest. Blaze him. Bow. You want to hold on to it? You want to give it late? You're going to pay. So I don't know why more teams don't do that. Captain says, if Davis Mills looks decent, like he doesn't look scared out there, which he didn't against the Cleveland Browns in his first NFL performance, I'm going to be banging my head against the wall that the Steelers should have gotten Pep Hamilton as their OC. I'm just going to tell you that he had moxie and poise in that first game that he came in relief of Tyrod Taylor in the second half against Cleveland in week 2. Now, there's still some rawness, as we knew that, coming out of Stanford. This is a guy that only made like 11 career starts or whatever for Stanford. So we know that he needs more time, more developing, more seasoning. But one thing I can say is he didn't look scared. He did not look scared, and the moment didn't look too big for him, and he didn't look overwhelmed. I think he's going to be overwhelmed, though, on Thursday night. We'll talk about that here in a second. Take a couple more comments, and then we'll go to our Thursday night look ahead. Rich says, I see a trend here. Tyrod gets hurt week 2, and then the rookie balls out. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. And I think I made reference to that. I don't think that's going to happen this time around, but I wouldn't be shocked if he played well. I liked, Davis Mills coming out of Stanford. And I said, hey, this guy has some talent. Look out. And I was intrigued enough that I was like, I wouldn't mind Washington taking a flyer on this kid in the 3rd or 4th round. The Texans beat everybody to the punch. I think he went a lot sooner than everybody thought he was going to go, which is fine. We'll see. I contend that he's not going to be anywhere near what Justin Herbert was last year. But he'll have his moments. He'll have his moments where you go, man, this Davis Mills dude, man, he ain't half bad. You're going to have some moments. I think he's going to look terrible tomorrow night, though. I do. Thank you for that comment, Rich. Derek B. Thank you for the comment. Who writes, sup, Lou? What up, Derek B? I was skeptical about Allen's contract because I didn't see him as a Donald Cox Jones in his first 4 years, but he's off to a great start in 2021. Happy for him. I still don't think he's any of those guys you just named, but he is off to a blistering start. I think he's got 3 sacks in 2 games, and it hasn't just been his sack production that's been off the charts. He's been very active at or around the line of scrimmage as a run defender as well. So I've been impressed with Jonathan Allen, and he's won some one-on-ones as well. His sack against the Giants, that was straight latch and snatch. That wasn't normally a lot of his sacks come off of twists and stunts, and the offensive line doesn't communicate. He comes scot-free, or the quarterback holds onto it a little bit too long. Chase Young or Montez Sweat gets there first, or Deron Payne gets there first. They miss the sack, and here comes Jonathan Allen to clean it up. Nah, he's winning. He's just straight winning one-on-ones. So he's been really impressive to start off the season for sure. Thank you for that comment, Derek B. So let's transition to our final segment of the show in garbage time. And what we're going to do is we are going to take a look at Thursday Night Football, our Thursday night look ahead, and 2-0 Carolina Panthers versus the 1-1 Houston Texans. Davis Mills to make his first career NFL start. That's one of the big storylines. I contend that the biggest storyline here, however, is the hot start that the Carolina Panthers have gotten off to at 2-0, but more importantly, how they've done it. Sam Darnold has looked impressive in these first 2 weeks. Really comfortable, really confident in playing the quarterback position the way a lot of people thought he would coming out of USC. So that's one of the storylines for the Panthers. But the thing I'm more focused on is this defense for the Panthers. Now, I get it. Week 1, the Jets, not a great offense. Week 2, the Saints, I don't think it's a great offense. Okay. But, that's debatable. We'll see. But I don't care. They put those teams in front of you. You still have to stymie them. You still have to suffocate them. As a Washington football team fan, we thought we were going to suffocate the Giants offensively. Oh, the defense was going to have a field day. Anything but. So you don't take anything for granted. That Panthers defense right now is playing, if not the best, among the best in the league defensively right now. They're number 1 in total yards given up, which, that's the NFL metric for defensive ranking. So technically speaking, they're number 1 in the league defensively if we're going off of yards per game given up. And to that point, they're number 1 in the league in yards per play given up at less than 4 yards per play. They're number 1 in the league right now in sacks. They've got 10 in the first 2 weeks. They're flying around. They're fast. They're physical. They're vicious. They're nasty. And they're unapologetic. They take on their head coach's personality and Matt Rule, who is a defensive-minded guy, and he believes in analytics. He believes in height, weight, speed guys. He wants athletes. He wants physical guys, and it's showing because they're nasty on defense. They're physical on defense. They're fast on defense. I've been blown away by their defense to this point, and I think they're going to destroy the Texans. And poor Davis Mills. Poor Davis Mills. He doesn't know what he's up against. Short week, so they don't have a whole week to prepare. It's his first career NFL start, and he has to cram for a Panthers team that's taking guys' heads off in the first 2 weeks. They sacked Jameis Winston like 4 or 5 times this past week. They gave up 127 total yards of offense against the Saints, coming off of a week 1 destruction of the Packers 38-3 the week prior. And they shut them down and completely turned the faucet off against the Saints. I don't know, man. It's going to be rough. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not looking forward to seeing Davis Mills squirm out there on the football field, but I think they're really going to get after him. They're really going to make him uncomfortable, and I could see him turning it over twice in this game just off of the strength of the pressure that the Panthers are going to apply in this football game. Burns is a beast. You know who's really playing well for them and is taking over somewhat of a field general is Shaq Thompson. You know, he goes to a single-digit number to number 7, and all of a sudden he's playing like he's back at UW. He's an animal out there. I think Jackson, the corner, is playing with a ton of confidence right now. And I just think having J.C. Horn on one side and Dante Jackson on the other with Jeremy Chin at the safety position, they're loaded, man. And Derek Brown in the middle at defensive tackle, he's playing some exceptional football. They're loaded, man. And then remember, they drafted Yetur Gross-Matos, so he's opposite of Brian Burns. They got length, they got speed, they got power, they got physicality, they got ball skills. I'm just saying, I don't think the Panthers are going to be 12-5 this year, but the schedule has started off very favorable for them, and they've taken advantage. A lot of people thought they were going to lose that Saints game. I did not. I told you I don't believe in the Saints. I think they have a lot of people not believing in the Saints as well now, and they're set up to go 3-0, and I think they're going to take full advantage of that opportunity. And I think they're going to destroy, Davis Mills in the process. I think this one is going to be a massacre. But we'll see. I told you Davis Mills looked unflappable in his first start. Again, he wasn't great. The numbers weren't great, but it wasn't from a fear of, stage fright, or not fear of stage fright, but it wasn't from stage fright. It wasn't from fear of the stage being too big. It was just, hey, we're not good enough. And I wasn't expecting to play, and I got thrusted in here. But we'll see. I'm not looking forward to seeing Davis Mills play against this Panthers defense. And I think a lot of people are going to be introduced to this Panthers defense. I've talked about Matt Rule, said he's very conservative as a coach, but you can be conservative when your defense is playing at the level that they're playing at right now. So we'll see what will happen in that game. I'll give you my prediction right now. I've got the Panthers destroying the Houston Texans in this game, 29-10. And that, I don't know if the score even does it justice. They get a late touchdown. This thing was 29-3, and they were smothering them, and they get a late garbage time touchdown towards the end of the game to make it look a little respectable. But I expect the Panthers to utterly disrespect the Houston Texans in their house. And I gotta throw this last sidebar in there. Their head coach, David Culley, in Houston, he's a little strange. He's a little odd. Let me give you an example of something that I kind of said, things that make you go, It's the things that make you go, yeah. And I was like, They had a 3rd and 15 in the game in week 2 versus the Browns from their own 35-yard line. They gain 14 yards to bring up 4th and 1. But the Browns were offsides. He declined the penalty and punted. What? What? So I'm thinking to myself, how many NFL teams would decline an opportunity to convert 3rd and 10 so that they could punt the ball to the other team? How many teams would do that? And I thought to myself long and hard, and I said, 0. Because that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. You got one of two options in that situation. One, you either accept the penalty, which is what 99% of the teams would have done. 95% of the teams would have done. maybe there are 5% of the teams would have said, hey, all we need is a yard for the first down. We'll go for it. Your second option is what I just said. You go for it on 4th and 1 and see if you can convert. There is no option C. There is no option 3, which is punt. Decline the penalty and punt. Either you take the 5-yard penalty, which brings up 3rd and 10, which gives you another opportunity to convert on 3rd down, or you decline the penalty because it's 4th and 1 and you got 14 yards and you want to go for it on 4th and 1. But you don't decline the penalty and say, no, I don't want to give my offense a chance to convert 3rd and 10. And no, I don't want to go for it on 4th and 1. We'll just punt. Don't worry about it. Where they do that at? Apparently now with David Culley as a coach, they do that in Houston. Some of these guys, man, I'm not sure about. I'm not sure. Anyway, I digress. It's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me on the 205th installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys later on tonight. If you're a Washington fan or if you just want to stop by and kick it, by all means, be my guest. Would love to have you. But for those of you who are not Washington fans or are not going to join me later on tonight, I will then see you tomorrow for Thursday night football overtime. Panthers, Texans. If you're not going to join me for that, and I don't blame you, probably going to be a massacre, then I'll see you on Friday for the Louie T Network podcast. Either way, I'll see you soon. So you guys take care. Remember, get off the bench, get in the game, and kick it with me, your man Louie T. Until next time, you guys take care. Have a good one.